So today we are back on with the Ferrari 328 restoration project. Now, we've not touched this Ferrari for a number of months, I think now. We actually sent the interior off for this, it must have been 3 months ago. There has been some delays with the interior. I'm not entirely sure what's been going on with the interior shop. I can only imagine they've been busy. However, the guy up there has now contacted me back saying my interior for this car will be ready next week. Now, we've also got the i200 up on the ramp here, which is ready for paint. So with that said, this has been being worked on. It's had all the insides been painted. This is coming up on another episode on this one pretty soon. So whilst we've been working on this and getting the paint done on this, we've actually had to bag the other cars in the workshop. One of them being the Ferrari. Obviously, the Ferrari is in fresh paint, so we didn't want to get any overspray on that car. So we put car cover on it, and then we sheeted it off as well, just for extra protection. Now I'm going to have to get this car a little bit lower on the ramp because we've actually removed, if you remember on the last episode on this was, again, a couple of months ago, probably 3 months ago, we actually stripped all the rear suspension down on this and rebushed it all, and I've never come back to this to get all these arms rebuilt and get the wheels back on this thing. Now, I need to lower it to get access to it. To do that, I need to move Kev's car back. So just for now, what I'm going to do is roll Kev's car down here, put it underneath the i200, and then I can just lower the Ferrari down, start building up the hubs while I wait for Kev to arrive. So once we've got Kev's car moved, I'm going to lower this down ever so slightly, start to pull these covers off, and hopefully that this has protected the paint and we don't actually have any overspray on this car. So fingers crossed, it should be good, but you never know until you unmask it. Damn, I forgot how good this car looks. Look at that. That is one good looking car, and that paint has been protected very, very well indeed. There's not even really much dust on it at all. So she's now all uncovered, which gives us access to these arms. I do need to paint these arms back into black as well, because you remember originally we was going to go back into red with this car, but we changed our mind last minute and decided to actually paint it in this blue metallic, which is a Ferrari colour. It's a very, very rare colour on these cars. So we went for something a little bit different and we went with this blue. So now, with that being said, with the car being in blue, I can't particularly leave the arms in red, so I do need to do these at some point, but it's something that we're going to come back to in the near future. But for today, it's just a case of getting the wheels on this so I can concentrate on the interior. To get the wheels on, I need to rebuild this rear suspension and get all these arms back on. The arms have been bushed, they have been painted, they are under air, covered in dust, so I do need to clean these off because they've been under this bench now for about 3 months. So we're going to get these out, get these cleaned off, start to get these arms back on this car. So here we have our freshly repainted upper and lower arms, complete with new bushes that have been installed in these as well. Now these are a bit of a faff to do, these bushes, because these are actually welded in. We have done an episode on how we remove these and how we reinstall these new bushes, but these are now all in. All I've got to do is put the bushes in the front, but you've got to do that as you're building it up. So now I'm going to start to put these on the car, try and figure out how they go back on, because I stripped this about 3 or 4 months ago. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a brain tease figuring out how all this goes back together, but I do think I've got a couple of videos I can revert back to that should help me out a little bit. So let's crack on, guys. Let's get these back on this car at last. Well, that was a bit more of a faff than I was expecting it to be. That was a hell of a lot more difficult than I was expecting it to be. But we've got this side pretty much built up now. So we've got the shocker on, we've got the upper and lower arms on. The most difficult part was trying to get these in and squeeze the hub in between these bushes without it all falling apart on you, because there's so many components in here that you've got to sort of hold together whilst you're trying to hold on to the upper arm and also holding on to the hub at the same time. So as you see now, I had to put a bungee strap around the top arm to keep the top arm in position, because that was dropping down on me, and then I managed to just sort of work my way in with the hub. So yeah, that was quite difficult, but we got there in the end. Now all that's left to do on this side pretty much is to put the disc on. We can then drop our brake caliper on and tighten everything up to the correct torque settings. I am going to preload this before I torque it up as well. I'm going to lift this car a little bit higher. I'm going to get the transmission jack under and just preload this suspension before we go ahead and torque all these bolts up. Once we've done that, I am going to leave the wheel arch liners out for now, because I do want to get in here at some point with the jet wash. So I'd like to get this car outside at some point when the wheels are all back on, and I've got some really good cleaning products. I don't know if you've seen it on previous episodes. I've used it on quite a number of cars now, and it brings aluminium up like brand new. So I'm going to use that inside here, give this a good cleaning out, give the chassis a good jet washing. I am going to stay away from important areas with the jet wash, but bear in mind, guys, this is outside of the car anyway. Pretty much there's not an awful lot of stuff to stop water getting on this engine when this car's going down the road anyway. So I'd like to think that the majority of the components on this engine are watertight, so I can't leave it as it is. Obviously the car is having pretty much a full restoration, and obviously stuff like this just lets it down, so I do need to get in here and clean that up. So that's going to be one of the next things we're going to do, but for now we're going to jump on the other side, get the other side built up, then we can get the wheels on, get this on the floor, get it outside. So that is our hubs all now built back up. We've got the upper and lower arms back on there, we've got the suspension back in, we've got the brake caliper on, Now, we do need to take these back off because I do need to get new brake pads in here. I am going to leave the discs as they are. The discs aren't that worn really, there's no lip on them. Obviously there's a little bit of corrosion from being stood for quite a period of time, but that'll soon clean up once the car is on the road and it's being driven, and obviously the brakes are being used. Same again around here. All built up, discs all on, hubs on, calipers on, upper and lower arms in, all rebushed, all looking nice. We also still need to fit the rear anti-roll bar yet, but I am waiting for new drop links coming for the anti-roll bar, so I do need to take these wheels back off at some point, but the aim of the game now is to just chuck these wheels on for now, literally, so I can get the car on the floor and roll it forward, just to have it at ground level to make it easier to get this interior in, because the interior is due back any day now. So I'm sort of preempting that. I'm going to move some cars around, get the Ferrari at the front, we're going to get Kev's car up on the ramp, and then we can sort of move stuff in and out as and when we need to, and it just makes life a lot easier for putting this interior in, so I can open the doors completely up, get all the carpets in. So I'm going to bang the wheels on now, drop this to the floor, and then get it ready for the interior, making its grand return. So that is all four wheels now on the car. As you probably noticed there, we don't actually have a full set of wheel bolts for this car, and the ones that I do have are all sort of odd. They're not matching and they do look a bit rough anyway, so I have got a full set of wheel nuts on order for this car. They're not cheap, they're about £20 each, these wheel nuts, but needs must, it's got to have them. So again, I'm not talking these wheel nuts up, again, because there is some missing, and also the wheels do need to come back off to fit all our air intakes, wheel arch liners, and get in there and clean out and tidy up everything that's going on inside there, and also to do the brake pad. So this is, again, just literally to get the car on the floor, to make it rollable, to start being able to get this interior in. So let's get this car on the floor. So I'm going to get the back end of this jacked up this morning, pull these rear wheels off, and then start to use some of this aluminium cleaner that I was talking about earlier on. So I'm going to get it up in the air as high as I can, remove these rear wheels, get it on some stands, and then we're going to be getting all inside there with the jet wash. Now, some of you guys are probably thinking, no, don't get it wet. However, bear in mind, the engine's going to get wet anyway as it's going down the road in the rain, so I'm assuming these will be somewhat watertight. I've got to get in there, guys, because I can't leave it like it is. There's some quite bad or some quite dirty areas that I do need to get in and clean out, so let's get these wheels off, let's get the jet washing. that is it now, all cleaned off, and I think that looks miles better. Even like right in there, all the way back there, everything is now really nice and clean. We've still got to do some bits of paintwork like down on the chassis and some of the framework and stuff. Still need to do the calipers, but it has come up a hell of a lot cleaner in there, considering how it was. Quite happy with that. I'll show you around the other side in a minute as well. So yeah, I think that's come out alright. The shockers and everything we've painted, tying with it all pretty well. Around here, same again. It's now all nice and clean up in there. I'm just going to let this drip dry for a while now. I'm going to chuck the wheels back on, get it back in the unit, and hopefully very, very soon, in the next couple of days, we should have the interior back for this thing. I've actually just give the car a bit of a wash off and a wipe down and all while we've got it outside. Brought that paint back to life and brought it now nice and clean again. So now I need to move this car out of the way to get Kev's car out of the workshop, because we're actually going to go for a start up on Kev's and try and see if it'll go in gear and move, because we've not actually tried to move this since we put the gearbox and the engine and the clutch and prop shaft and everything back on it. So we're going to get this car outside. Obviously I need to move this out of the way, so I'm going to take this opportunity to actually see if this will drive under its own steam, because I haven't actually tried to drive this car yet. So I'm going to see if it'll start. It's not been started for a good few months now. If it does start, I'm basically just going to have to sit on the floor because there's no seats in it at the minute, and I'm going to have to see if we can get a gear and get this thing to move under its own steam rather than pushing it. So fingers crossed. Let's see if it'll start and let's see if it'll move. Will it start? Oh, that feels weird.
Good seat that. Don't think you fit. It's like Jeremy Clarkson in an F40, GT5. Now look. His battery's dead now. Just press your throttle pedal. Yeah, it's working. Looks nice in the sun.
This is a good run, doesn't it?
First drive.
Run and tuning.
And you have brakes too.
I'm actually going to drive it back in the garage later. Hey, that means you don't have to push it around anymore.
Your brake, both your brake lights work now anyway, I don't know why.
I need to sort that throttle light out. No, because the brake lights work.
Yeah? Yeah.
Yeah, so it definitely missed that throttle. It's took all the way too quick. These are not the boots you want to be driving a Ferrari in, where you've got about 10 mil between the pedals.
It's a bit tight in there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Got my finger in the way.
Really good to do that.
Looks like you're nicking it.
Scary. So that is the Ferrari back in the unit, and it actually drove in under its own steam. So this is the first time I've actually ever driven this car. So now at least we know the clutch works, it selects all the gears, and it actually moves and stops. So the brakes also work, which is good. We've got all this back end built up, so that is now all rebushed, all back together. We've still got some working out to do. As you'll have heard there, it was idling quite high. Now, we might have to look into the idle control valve and stuff like that. Obviously the car does need completely setting up yet because it's not been tuned. It's not been on the road for a long time. So we are going to get this car off to a tuner, probably be Motorscope, I would have thought, who will get this, get it in, do the tweaks to it and get it running right once we're ready for that stage. Now, the next things we're going to be doing on this is still quite a lot of things we need to do. And there's a lot of parts we need to source. We are still missing bits like these trims that go along the edge there. I'm missing the mirror brackets. Now, if anyone knows where I can get these from, because I cannot find them anywhere. I've got the mirrors, I just don't have the brackets to mount the mirrors to the car. I'm also missing the aluminium trims, which just fit across the top of the sill there. Oh, and that's my seat that I was using, by the way. So I am missing aluminium trim that goes across the top of the sills. The interior should be back in the next couple of days. I do need a lock set because I've got one door lock missing. Now, the cheapest I can find a lock set used, which comes as 2 door locks and 1 ignition barrel. £2,500 for a used lock set. Those aluminium trims that we're talking about there, used, them are about, I think they're £450 something per side for a little strip of aluminium. These, again, I could only find used, and they're looking at about £350 per side. So I do need to find them. I've got some seals I need to find, door seals, door cable for that side. What else are we missing off that side? No, I've got one of these little rubbers missing from the top there. There is one on that side. Once I've found a front windscreen seal, I do have the front windscreen, so that can go in. There's just lots and lots of stuff that I need to source and find for this car, but in an affordable way, because the prices for the parts for these cars is just astronomical. It's really, really expensive stuff, and it is quite hard to find. So they've kind of got you in a position where you either pay the price for it or you don't get it, which is a bit of a bad position to be in. I didn't actually realise just how much stuff was missing from this car when I got it. Obviously, I bought this in boxes and boxes of bits. If you followed this build from the beginning, you'll have seen the front nose cone was off, completely off the car. It was just a bare shell, completely stripped down. And I've never built one of these cars before, so when you're looking through boxes of bits, you think 99% of the stuff is there, and it's only when you start to put it together you actually realise that there is lots and lots of expensive stuff missing. So I do need to go on a massive parts hunt for this. So yeah, we're waiting for the interior to come back. That should be in the next episode. We'll get this full interior in. We've had the carpet redone in blue to match the blue exterior of the car. The seats are staying in cream, but they've all been cleaned up, and we've had the door cards retrimmed because some of the door cards was torn on the leather, so that's all been redone as well. So once we've got that back, that can all go in, so at least we can start to make some progress. I've got bits of stuff to do under here still. The wheel arch linings, sorry, the spare wheel linings need to be fastened down. We've got the bonnet catch that needs to be fitted yet, and the pull cable for that. Yeah, so there's still quite a lot of stuff to do, but we're going to leave this one here, guys. This is all we've got time for today. Again, if you do know where I can source any parts for this car at an affordable price, please do drop that down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you're enjoying this build, and we'll see you all on the next video.